call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. Let's go.
All right. What have we got here? What's up, everybody? Mike, Robin, Commander. I wish I did. Cereal is crap. I miss good cereal. Oh, that's awful. I never cared for Cheerios. Apple Jacks, though, break the good milk out for, yeah. Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. Stephanie and Ember and Trees, Robin, Commander, Mike's here, Dave's here. What's up, everybody? It's good to see you. Sorry I didn't stream yesterday. I was just exhausted and I slept half the day and I didn't feel great. And what this stream is about, like I wasn't excited to do it anyway. This isn't a conversation that I really wanted to have, but here we are. And here we go. Have you looked in the Magic Spoon? Emma Thorne gets recreated cereals that way. Yeah. She's got a good sponsor. We've got one now too, but it's really just an affiliate thing at the moment until we get into doing the other stuff. So we've talked about it and agreed to do it and stuff, but all right. So let's get into this. I want to start with a whole bunch of preface to. Oh, I was muted while the ad was up. Okay, well, what I said is we've partnered with Smoke Cartel, and if you go and sign up for the Cabana Club for free, it'll make it like the cheapest site on the internet to find all your smoking gear. They got pops and bongs and papers, vape stuff, trays. They've got all kinds of neat stuff, dinosaur bongs, everything like that. They've got all kinds of cool stuff, and I've got a link in the description. Even if you don't want to get anything or whatever, do me a favor, click on the link. Just help me out with analytics that way. But let's get into this. So first of all, I want to say that I care about the people in this community and the people that support the channel and come watch and all the great people I've met along the way. And the overall message that I'm going to end up giving here is that I want us to work together. That's what I want, especially given the current political climate and a lot of other things that are going on in the world right now. I think that we have to come together and work together to expose and fight against the things that are going on. And that being said, I'm not going to talk about any specific people in this stream or specific events or anything like that, because this isn't about anybody. All the people that are my friends, I love each and every one of you just the same. This is about a behavior that seems to be a growing problem. And that being said, I also understand that a lot of people are hurting right now, and a lot of people are upset and scared, and there's a lot of shit going on people are concerned with, and I get it. I'm right there with you. I feel exactly the same. And it's one of the things that makes me do the things I do, like, because I want to talk about the things that you see going on, and then the details of it, and keep everyone as informed as I can about the things that I know. Sometimes I get things wrong, you know. When I get things wrong, though, usually what happens is someone says, "Hey, I don't think you're right about that thing," and then we have a chat about it, and we figure it out. Me and Ember just did this the other day, right? Ember pointed out that I may not be explaining something fully, and we had a conversation about it behind the scenes, and at the end of it, everybody was, like, okay, and we moved on to other things after that, right? But what we need to not do, especially whenever it comes to these political issues and stuff, is fight amongst ourselves about insignificant things. There are very important things that are going on and stuff that need all of our attention. Everybody that can give it attention in whatever way, but sometimes we vary in the way that we address those things. Sometimes you can address one issue, and in doing that, it benefits others. And we weigh those things out individually based on our experiences. We don't just come up with something and say, hey, we're more for this thing or less for this thing, and everybody's going to do that. There is no way to equally care about everything. And for me, I'll give an example. The most important issue to me is education. I think whenever you address education, you help fix problems within wealth inequality and the LGBTQ community and racism and all kinds of other. I think it has an effect where it helps in all those areas because it's part of the problem in all those areas, right? It's not directly addressing each one of those things, but it has an effect. Now, you can disagree with me on that. People, that's fine. Like, and someone might think that wealth inequality is the most important thing, or LGBTQ issues is the most important thing, or racism is the most important thing. And to be honest, they all are the most important thing. But our experience is what guides us to how we weigh those things when we talk about it. And we talk about the things we know, right? So whenever I come on here and I point out harmful things in religion and talk about that, it's because it's the thing I feel like I'm most prepared to talk about. There's some science stuff that I talk about sometimes, and it's because that's the that's how, that those are things that I feel like I have a good grip on to talk about, and so I do. And behind the scenes, some of us talk about other stuff, and in my member streams, we get into a lot of different issues and stuff because those are really made for us to just talk about whatever. But the point of all of this is that I understand that we all have channels and we can make whatever content we want on those channels. We can say whatever we want and have whatever guest we want, and we can go in other chats and say anything. We can confront people that say things wrong, and that's good. But there's a spectrum to that, right? So, do you call out people who are bigots? And I'm not going to answer these. I think my answers are probably known, but just I want you to think about this now and later. Do we call out, even if not to their face? Do we publicly point to people who are bigots, or then do we publicly point to people who are on the right but maybe aren't known for being bigots? Do we do we point to those that disagree with us? Um, and do we publicly call out things we disagree with? Sure. Do we call out those that we do agree with? Sure, you should. You should you should tell people when they're wrong. But the approach to how we address issues that are bigotry and hate and some of the awful ideology that comes with the right and religion and things like that, the way that we address those things isn't the way that we should address each other, right? Because we can talk to each other. We don't need to make a big scene and have a big fight and all that. If and it seems to be this thing, where there's some want to like spend all of their time um trying to demonize people that agree with them rather than attacking the ones that we should, right? And in fact, it's upside down for some folks. Some folks, we want to have nice, friendly conversations with theists or bigots or racists or whoever. Like we want to have conversations with those people, but then whenever it's somebody within our own group, we want to like publicly shame them in front of everybody. And we need to kind of watch that. Like when someone agrees with you on something, but you're having some place that you disagree, rather than making a whole thing out of it, just talk to people. Like we pride ourselves. One of the things that so many atheist channels, and definitely the creators that I'm friends with, talk about is like, I want to hear logic and reason, and I'm willing to hear when I'm wrong and fix it and talk about these things. So what you do whenever you, especially if you continually follow someone around giving them shit. No, we're not. We're talking about a behavior trees, not anything specific. When you follow people around talking shit about things that are not bigotry or hate or any major thing, just they've said something you disagree with, or they weigh something differently than you agree with. When you do that, you're only hurting the causes that you say you stand for. You're being contradictory to what your whole goal is. And I know a lot of people are hurting and upset and scared, and I think that whenever we're talking to each other, let's make sure that we think about that for a minute. Just take a minute and think about who it is you're talking to, because we do have to talk to different people in a different way. And we do have to come together right now. More than ever, we have to come together right now. If we don't right now, like right now is the time. If we don't come together, if we're just going to fight among ourselves over details of stupid stuff that's just opinion stuff, like just I feel this way about this thing, I don't. So what? Like we agree on so many other issues, and let's focus on that instead of the couple things that we don't. And yes, for everybody joining now, I did at the beginning preface this with a whole lot of caveats and stuff. And I'll go ahead. Fuck it. I'll just go ahead and say it again. This isn't about a specific person or specific events. I know that there's been a few things here recently. There's even been a conversation with me and Sumami. This isn't about that. It's not. It's just not. This is about a behavior that seems to be a thing that is a growing problem, and I just want to address it now before it becomes a whole big fight, because there's people that are upset and hurt and things because of the election and everything else, and they're causing, well, I don't want to say they are causing, but then there's also a group of people in our own community that are upset because of how we've been talking to each other and addressing different things and stuff. And I don't want to see I don't want to see this big division among us and us all fighting and stuff, because it's just not it's not an effective way to do anything. It's contradictory to the goals that we say we want to set, and try to find things to attack about our our fellow creators. Like in this space, like we can all come together and fight against the same things in all the different ways that we do it. We've always talked about, it's great that everybody has different perspectives on all these different things, and that's our strength. Why divide ourselves because of it? Just because I don't put the issue you find most important first, and I'm not talking about that issue, doesn't mean I don't care about that issue. It just means I think I can have a better effect in a different place. If you want to talk about a certain issue with me, I'll do it. I'll honestly, openly talk about anything on this channel. I think everybody knows that from me. The hold on, I'm reading chat. Yeah, so it's not, I think we hold each other accountable, but it's not anybody's job to police this community. It's just not. It's not. We can put anything up we want. That I had some problems on my channel early on, and some stuff that went on, and I made the necessary changes and addressed those things, not because I had to or someone told me to, or because that's been said is all, but because it was right and it needed to be done. That's why I wanted to do it. The right person will overlay the person agrees on a mutual target. The left will extinguish the person if they don't agree. Yeah, and that's really the thing I'm getting at. And this is kind of like it's a running thing with the left is that we eat our own and all that. And it's like, that's kind of what, like, if you're not as left as me, then you're part of the problem. That's just not true. It's just not. It's not right. And you're alienating your own people. Don't do that. Work together. Let's work together. And if you want me to fight about other issues, or you want to have a deep discussion about how I feel about a certain event or whatever, then let's have that talk. Let's do it. I don't know of a person that I'm friends with in this community that wow. I don't know a person in this community that doesn't agree with that. But whenever we get into action, then it becomes something different. And let's spend more time working together against the people that are trying to do the harm, instead of harming our own people by publicly shaming each other and trying to have fights among ourselves. Let's not do that. So, all that being said, I've got Mike from Speed of Sound or Mike from Answers and Atheism in the background, and I'm gonna bring him on in just a second. But again, I want you to take away from this that it's about a behavior, and it's about working together. It's not about any individual person or individual event or anything like that. It's a bigger picture than that. You look at it a little larger than that. And can somebody ban that account? And I hope we can work together. I really do. And if you're mad at me for some of the stuff I said here, or you think it was wrong of me to come on here and hypocritically call these things out or whatever, then I mean, I guess we can have that conversation, or not, whatever. I mean, but the thing is that we're all doing our own thing to fight against the same people and the same stuff, for the most part. Within this community, I think we all are. I mean, I think it's safe to say that's fair. And I know things are tough right now, and everybody's on edge, and there's a lot going on, and again, I know people are hurt and scared. I know it, but please don't like this isn't the time to self-destruct, okay? This isn't the time to attack each other and publicly shame each other and make a big scene about little tiny issues whenever you agree on them for the most part. And if you don't, let's talk it out. Whether it's live, let's have that live conversation and set it up. But don't follow people around and fuck with them in the chat and cuss people and call them names and shit, all for just like stupid piddly things that aren't bigotry and hate and all that stuff. Let's not do that. That's bullshit. Like, all right.
Oh
What's
no.
up, Mike?
Am I here?
You are
You
here.
said a lot of the things that I kind of wanted to say. The biggest one is, come on, people, let's not self-destruct. Let's not shoot our own. And like everybody that I deal with in this community, and we are a community, and you and I are part of that same community, Joe. Uh, we're all pretty much of the same mind and of the same fiber, as far and I think we're liberal as fuck, to tell you the truth. But
Sure.
with but we each have like some conservative threads running through us. Like I've got a few economic conservative threads and whatever, and we're going to differ in a lot of things, and we're going to disagree on a few examples. But geez, it's no reason to throw somebody under the bus.
Yeah.
When they do that over some simple little issue. And but here's the point. Okay, okay, I'm a creator, and I get online and I bring some asshead on my channel, and I talk to him, and I forget to push back every time he says something bigoted, because if you push back every time they said something bigoted, that's all you'd be doing. And so I make a mistake, and then somebody else in our community comes out and calls me out on it and says some nasty shit about me, right? There's two things here going on here, okay? Number one, I need to listen to them when they say that I've done something wrong on my channel. And that's one point that you did not mention, is there are two sides to this. They need to show a little why can't I think of the word? Be a little generous, right? In allowing you to make mistakes and to screw up on your channel occasionally. We all do. But on the other hand, you also need to listen to what they said instead of just getting pissed off at them. Because if you get pissed off at them, then it's going to go right back at you. It's like now it's in your court. Now it's in your court. And we're playing tennis, and we're going to hit harder and harder every time we hit the ball. So on both sides,
Yeah.
chill. Can I swear?
Yeah.
Chill the fuck out. Okay, because I mean, like, when I'm attacked, I have to put on my thick skin. I have to put on my big boy pants. I have to put on my thick skin, and I have to say, okay, like there are a couple of individuals on that frequent my channel that give me a lot of pushback on a lot of things, and I look at them as my mommy. And it's like, okay, I got scolded, and I'm going to listen and figure out what I need to do better the next time. And that's one thing. So rather than take it as a personal insult, because I don't think it always is. I think they're just trying to vigorously correct us, right? That sort of thing.
Sure. I
Yeah.
don't think it's always that either. And you did make an important point. We do need to listen to each other. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Don't
Both sides.
don't just shut off to somebody immediately because you disagree. Like, we need to listen to each other.
Yeah, you gotta, like, when somebody attacks you for doing something wrong on your channel, you need to listen to them, and rather than quickly being hurt and offended, because like when I first got into YouTube, I remember the very worst instance was the first time Smokey Saint did a whole stream on me being speedopedo pudding, is what he called me. And like I was ready to quit YouTube. I mean, this happens to all creators. You get that, like, somebody says something really nasty about you. He was on the opposite side of the fence, but I mean, it really takes you aback at first. But after you've been doing this about 4 years, you can develop a little bit of thick skin, and that's what we need, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I switched to screens here. We're having a
Okay. That's
a problem with the chat within here. That's not. I don't think. Yeah.
I'm capturing I'm capturing your chat if you want it. I got it in Excel form. I can send it to you.
I don't know why. I don't know how that person is commenting and it's coming through on here, but it's not in the YouTube chat after they've been banned.
Yeah.
So I just took the on-screen chat off. That way, it's gone.
Yeah, you could see it on screen, but you couldn't see it in YouTube.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, there's a specific example that divides us in that's happening in politics today. And do you mind a specific example without using none of our people in our community?
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So this Luigi killing the corporate executive business, right?
Yeah.
So that happened, and I was appalled by that assassination on the streets of New York of somebody being shot in the back, a father being killed, and I didn't know much about the guy, and I mentioned it to my sons, and like I get upset now every time somebody gets killed, no matter how much I hate them. There's only one person in the world I can think of that wouldn't bother me if they got killed. But anyway, so I told my sons about it, and they were like of the mind that, oh no, United Healthcare is just the worst thing ever, and I'm a communist, or I'm something horrible because I was feeling bad for this person that got killed, and I had to unpack it, and it's very nuanced. We're all different, okay. Now I'm going to bring up something that makes everybody uncomfortable.
Well, let me real quick. So that thing, like while you feel that way about it, that it's not right to
murder somebody.
Yeah, there are people that feel differently about that. But
I know.
But still agree on all the issues that surround that, and like,
yeah,
while I can empathize with the people that feel that way and that are upset and that's their, that feel like they have no choice but to feel that way, like I get it, but I mean, we know from history and experience that there's better ways to do this. So there's a lot of nuance to how we each react to something, right? So, sure.
So I thought about this thing, and 4 years ago there was a person named Ray Rosenbaum that thought my daughter was the source of all evil, that she was like a witch and she was controlling his life and spying on him and trying to, whatever. And he felt that very strongly, just like this guy felt about that United Healthcare, that one person from UHC, right?
Yeah.
And he murdered my daughter because of that, right? And he shot her in the back. And I realized that one of the reasons why that bothered me so goddamn much is because this related to me personally at a very, very deep level, right?
Sure.
Can you understand that?
Oh, yeah.
And not only that, but I'm a father, and and I think about those kids, and so there's all these things that make us react differently to different situations, and it doesn't mean that I don't hate what the healthcare industry is doing, or does it that I don't hate what his acts are. So that was one of the differences in how me and my sons reacted to it, right? And so that's always going to happen. You're always going to have somebody that, oh, you don't feel strongly enough about this issue, and I really do, and it's like, no, I feel this other way, and so that's a really good example. And this whole thing about the downtrodden, the downtrodden are being put upon, and they're underwater and they don't know what to do about it, that sort of thing. Those are the same people that voted for Trump.
Yeah.
They all felt that way, right? And here we are, another whole section of downtrodden that voted for somebody else. It's like, how the hell do you reconcile those two things?
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost like we should all be on the same side, but we're not sometimes, over certain things. It's really interesting, but the older I get, the more I just want to be generous to as many people as I can, to a point.
Yeah.
And and my thing is
Yeah,
Christians and
maybe it's a generational thing,
I don't know, Christians and anti-science, right?
Yeah.
Okay, those guys, I think they're evil. I think they're doing horrible harm to the world. And those are the people that I am capable of pushing back on, and those are the people that this entire community agrees that we should push back on.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wanted to Ember, better ways probably wasn't the right way to phrase it. I should have said more effective. Um, and not that I disagree that there is, right now there's a lot of mixed feelings and not sure exactly what it is. But first of all, we have to come together and be able to talk to each other first, right? These things have to come first, and that's the point I was trying to make. And you're right, better ways was probably not the correct terminology.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. And then, I can always find something about something somebody does on their channel with a particular guest that I could criticize and I could get pissed off about.
Sure.
There was this philosopher talking to Dimbulb, and I didn't feel that he went hard enough after him over a few certain issues in philosophy, right?
Yeah.
Because he was too generous, and I could have got all bent out of shape about that and started hammering the guy, but that, why? So I disagree with how he did it. So what? Who the hell am I? I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry. We stay with some trolls around here. It's been a thing for a minute now.
You got some trolls?
Yeah, it's no big deal. The my mods and stuff are really good. PC does a great job, and my mods do a great job of taking care of it. I block them within here too, though, because there's a way around it. But I think you're right, and I think that it's whenever you've got people so emotionally charged about so many things that it's easy to forget I'm on your side, like I agree with you, and you can. There's a number of things that we can talk about that maybe I'm not able to empathize on the right level because of things that I can't change. But I'm willing to do what it is that I need to do to affect that change, and that's what I'm trying to do. And sometimes, especially me personally, I'm not the best at articulating my position and things. I stumble a lot on my words, and I'm pretty sure the years of drug use did some permanent damage to the way I think. And so sometimes I have trouble spitting out what it is I mean, and sometimes I don't say it correctly. But
I was this bad before I started using drugs.
Right. I honestly
can't blame that.
I look back now and I think, man, I used to be so much smarter than I am now. But honestly, really, I think a lot of the technical stuff I learned out of books and things like that. I've lost some of that.
Oh yeah. Well, that happens.
I went to school and got a degree in computer science, but I couldn't sit down and take even the Cisco test, which I used to have a certification for. I couldn't sit down and pass that now, because
right.
I couldn't sit down and write things in Python for you now, and I used to be able to. But
when I learned Python, I forgot Ruby.
Yeah. Well, I learned Java, and then when I learned C, I forgot Java. And,
exactly. Yeah. You should forget Java. Everyone should forget Java. Java is despair.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But those things, one of the things though is a lot of those things have been replaced with some amount of wisdom. Now, whether I'm correct in the things that I've gained in that wisdom or not, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But the things I've learned about people and the world and how things operate and how to have difficult conversations and how to spot certain red flags and things and stuff like that. All of those things that I've picked up along the way, and that's just really talking about. That's really just talking about the doing the YouTube thing in general, but we could go back to even like the thing about drugs, like the journey of being a heroin addict and then not,
Yeah.
or at least not actively using is you learn quite a few things about yourself, the people around you, the things you do, even things you own yourself. You learn a lot
Yeah.
about how those things affect you, and you learn to look inside yourself a little differently. And
Yeah.
it's one of the reasons that what I do on this channel, I won't lie to anyone. I don't lie. I don't. And if I say I may be wrong, but I won't ever knowingly tell you something that's not true. It's I don't tell lies. I don't tell lies. Violence is necessary sometimes.
Yeah, I think some people want me to lie a little more than I do. Not be not be so. I'm pretty transparent. I mean, I don't give a shit what I share about my life. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll lay it out. Some of it, some of the most horrible parts I can tell in a humorous way.
Yeah.
But they
I
were
mean,
horrible. They were horrible things, right? I don't know.
I think that I think that whenever we talk about the way that the people approach a certain situation, whether you think it calls for this, like talking about it this way or approaching it this way, or you should have said this or you should have done that, like
Right.
that again plays down to how people weigh all these things out differently. And
Yeah.
I'm not demonizing anyone who feels like the only answer is some sort of violence or whatever. Like I'm just
Right.
I just want to let you know that it seems that there's more effective ways to address things. And but there is a time when you run out of things that you can do, right? I mean, like there's a time when you've exhausted,
Right. Oh, yeah.
all the ways that you can handle things. And I don't disagree with people feeling like this is that time because I know that there's an emotional charge behind that, because again I know people are upset and scared and hurt
Yeah.
and so I get it, like you, that those things. And I've even said numerous times on stream recently, we need to organize in some kind of more structured way. But how do we go about doing that? I
Yeah.
can't sit here and say that on YouTube. They'll shut this shit down immediately. Like
Yeah.
there has to be a way to go about it. Do you need anything from me?
Yeah. The weirdest thing I've noticed in the last 4 or 5 months is that liberals have suddenly started talking more violently than I've ever heard them talk before, and it's kind of frightening. Uh, have you noticed that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we're supposed to be the soft and fuzzy group, right? But a lot of shit's going on. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, and like, what can we do? I think one of the most important things that we can do as Democrats is, and I don't know how to do this, but what we really need to do is make sure that the next time they run a candidate, that they run a candidate that is really highly qualified and has a chance of winning. And I thought we had one, but apparently we screwed up on the gender, right? For some
That
reason,
seems, it seems to be misogyny played a huge role. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and but like L. Franken, right?
yeah,
He's somebody that got pushed out of the Democratic Party because he made a joke on Saturday Night Live.
yeah,
He would have been he would have touched, he would have connected with that base that Trump took, right? That whole everyman base.
yeah.
And Franken would have been amazing, but we pushed him out. I mean, we shot ourselves in the
I
foot.
think we did the same thing to Bernie, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
we pushed
yeah,
Bernie out because we
yeah,
thought, well, no, I don't want to say we, but there was this idea that Hillary was the better candidate.
yep.
And then
And she
again did it
wasn't. Yeah,
again,
she wasn't. Yeah,
but I think that I think there's a lot of different perspectives you could take on that, and a lot of different problems.
yeah,
um, it's there's a lot of, and Amber's right in chat. Yeah, there's a lot of different angles you can look at this from, and a lot of complex things that go into it. And just to again, to address something, I don't even know, this might have been one of the trolls in the chat, I'm not sure, but somebody said something about somebody talking smack about me about a debate or something. I don't often debate people, so I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm always open to having conversations with people. So I don't know. I don't know how a young Earth creationist could crush anyone in a debate, because
yeah.
creation sucks. But
Yeah.
whatever. Not the point of today's stream. So moving on. Um, the they had tagged me in it is the only reason I'm addressing it. But so I just we're I mean we're past that now, though, right? Like it's over. That
Yeah.
the that part of it's not going to change,
Yeah.
and so rather than fighting with each other over the details, like no, it's this, no, it's that, no, it's this. Like, instead of sitting and just bickering among each other, let's keep focused. I know that it's tough, and I know that a lot of us aren't in agreement on things, but let's talk that out as we go.
Yeah.
We can do that. We're you know I have to honestly say, like, when I came into the live streaming scene and everything, again, like, and a lot of you know this about me, but like, it was all about, I want to debate, you know, Christians, and I want to talk about the Bible, and I want to argue about these issues, and I changed my mind slowly over time because of different things that happened, and completely, like, 180 the other direction, and directed back at the atheist community. I'd rather talk to the atheist community. Like,
Yeah.
sure, I'll engage with Christians and whatever occasionally. I've had a couple on the channel, and when I do that, one of the things that happens is I get a lot of people that say, you should have said this, and you should have got them on this.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like,
when you're up to your ass in alligators,
yeah, and it's
it's
like,
hard to.
but I appreciate that input, and I appreciate it done that way. But
Yeah.
what we don't do is then turn around and be like, well, he didn't say, he didn't answer this question right. This guy's awful, and I'm gonna talk shit about him, and give him shit every time I see him, because of this one event. That this person didn't realize who that person was and the awful things they've done right away. So I'm going to go on about it forever, rather than just informing them and explaining the situation, because you
Right.
would get so much further quicker. When you go in guns blazing, you just set people on the defensive, and they
Yeah.
don't listen to you.
Yeah.
For the most part, not everyone. Some people handle that better than others.
Yeah,
But
and the idea about platforming the Christians and the bigots and all of that is you got to get them to let their reasoning and their beliefs and their words come on the outside so people can see them and
Yeah.
judge them for themselves. And that's why I have crazy evolution denying people on, not because I'm ever going to change their mind, but because I'm going to get whatever's turning around inside that poor little head out on the outside, right? And the viewers can see that. And then all the people that are somewhat on the edge hopefully will change. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think that's it.
Canceling needs to stop. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's how
but
you change time.
the thing is, I don't think you can really cancel people, right?
Not really.
No, you can vote with your views and vote with your dollars. If that's called canceling, then we've been doing that forever, since day one. It's like we do that when a comic comes on stage, right? Whether or not
Yeah.
we laugh or clap or leave. Uh, I don't think there is such a thing as canceling, but there's this. What I guess is irritating is the second order canceling, where somebody will get the ire of the masses, right? And then somebody
Sure.
else will come along and defend them
Yeah.
or have some nuanced opinion, and then that person will get the masses. It's like the crowd with the pitchforks. They don't know who to chase. They're chasing the bad guy, and then somebody comes along and says, "Hey, don't do that," and then they chase him, and the bad guy gets away.
If you want to
It's
chase,
like,
if you want to chase somebody, chase me. Say I'm all those things. I can take it.
chase the bad guy, though. Yeah, no, not you,
Yeah.
Joe. Chase the fucking bad
Well,
guy.
no, I agree.
You want to chase the monster.
Because you start spending all of your time doing that to your own community. You're not actually fighting against the things that you support
Right.
because you're so worried about the infighting part of it. Oh,
And
and Brooklyn Lou, I'm sorry. The chat was going by really fast, and I just, sorry. I didn't mean to call you a troll. It was just going by real quick, and I seen something about it and was like, wanted to address it. But anybody who wants, that again, I'm sure that video exists. So, creationists think they win every argument. So go watch the video. That's all I got to say.
So, an interesting little anecdote is at AA meetings about 15 years ago, we had a big kerfuffle over smoking, right? And so we were talking about dividing into smoking and non-smoking groups, and then we already had women's and men's groups, and then we had I think they even had gay and straight groups, and I thought, okay, so then we'll divide into women's, or we'll divide by gender, then we'll divide by whether we smoke, then we'll divide by whether or not we read the big book or the 12 and 12, then we'll divide by religion, then we'll divide by denomination, and eventually everybody will be in their own AA meeting. There'll be one AA meeting per person because nobody's going to match on every characteristic, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happens to good groups. That's how they divide into fluff.
When you start putting people into boxes for every little thing, that's what you end up. Amber, I agree with this completely. There's a lot of nuance to all this, right? And again, I agree that I'm not the most articulate person, and that there's people that could probably say all these things better. But I do feel like it's something that needed to be addressed. And so doing what I do, I can't not say something. I can't not address the fact that we're trying to destroy each other rather than the people that are actually the problem.
Yeah. And a message to all my friends out there, and even some of the people that think I am off base here. Chill out. Take a moment. Reflect a little bit. Take the criticism and don't let it bother you. This is just YouTube, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
This isn't, they're not going to execute us, right? So, just chill out, everybody, and be as generous to each other as you possibly can.
Robin, I think the smoking he was talking about was online, not even in person, right?
What's that?
Are you talking about the online people smoking?
No.
You're talking about in person.
Yeah, this was back when you walked into an AA meeting, it was like walking into a fog bank.
Oh, right,
with cigarettes, and I smoked. I smoked 6.2 packs a day, and I was the worst, and I got really.
Anybody looking for a sugar daddy? Mike's here. He can smoke 6 packs a day. He's ready for it.
Yeah, I got really irritated. So my pulmonologist told me the other day. She said, "Yeah, I was talking to a bunch of friends of mine, and we were all comparing who had the biggest smoker in their, as a client, and I won with you with 6.2 packs a day. And I measured that scientifically, by the way. I measured it from 1 month to the next. And I divided it. It's like, God, that can't be right. And then I tried to figure out how in the hell do I do that?
I
But
thought about randomly asking people how many cigarettes did I smoke in a stream.
Yeah.
Giving out a gift card to the one that
Yeah.
gets closest. Because I smoke down when I'm streaming. I smoke more.
Yeah.
In fact, like I have to watch because when I start a stream, I'm like I'll sit here and smoke like 3/4 of a pack of cigarettes in 2 hours.
Or you'll have two burning in the ashtray at the same. The day,
My mom
the
used
moment,
to do that, man.
yeah, the
I
moment I
was-
quit, I had a cigarette in each hand, and I
Yeah.
looked at it. It's like, what the hell am I doing? And then I took my keyboard and I turned it over, and I got like a 1/4 inch pile of ashes came out of my keyboard, and that was the
Yeah.
day I quit, and that was like 14 years ago. So
I hate smoking. It makes a mess and it's awful and I don't. I quit doing heroin,
yeah.
but I can't quit smoking. Like
Hey.
it's
Hey Joe,
yeah.
I quit 14 years ago. I should have quit 10 years earlier, because now I want to go backpacking and running up hills and doing stuff,
Yeah,
and I can't because I don't have the lungs to do it.
yeah.
And,
But
and
I fucking like I don't know, man. Like
I smoked all my life from 16 on, right? 4 packs a day.
Yeah,
And I always told myself, oh, I'll quit. I'm going to quit. I'm young enough. Of course I'm going to quit later. And it was, I was like 60 years old when I quit.
yeah,
I didn't quit. I didn't quit in time. I lost another friend yesterday to emphysema.
Yeah.
Really great AA guy.
Well, I mean,
And-
my girlfriend's mom that we lived with just died of lung cancer just here
Yeah.
a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I just had a lung cancer scare, but I found out I was fine. So
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Good. I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear it. The one of the things with me is that after I had heart surgery and stuff, they set me on my ass for so long. Like, yeah, I couldn't. I mean, I had to. I had to start walking all over again to begin with, and then, it wasn't your average heart surgery, right? Because I was almost dead whenever I went to the hospital, and I ended up having a mechanical valve put in place of my aortic valve, and 2 patches put on my heart for holes in it. And
was that congenital or?
no, it was endocarditis, and
Okay.
that set me on my ass for so long, getting strength back to where I can even do anything. I gained a bunch of weight, and I had stopped smoking for like a few months after that, but I gained weight, and then I'm still smoking. So it's like even with the smoking, like I need to do something to lose the weight, but I can't be as active as I used to be, and I don't have my body just isn't what it was before all that, and it's been hard getting back into to really doing anything, and it's all just like this cascading thing, and I'm totally making excuses, I get it, like,
Yeah.
but it's all this cascading thing that I'm not doing very well at addressing, and
Yeah, shit, I'm doing the same thing now. This winter, I slipped back into not exercising as often, not walking, and I'm kicking myself in the ass for it. This morning, I got up, met with a therapist, and said, "What the fuck am I doing again?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But I got a solution for you. It's about about 6 grams and a week to prepare and some intent, and then sit and think about what you're doing. I was
yeah, I've thought about that. I've actually thought about that because
Yep.
and I was always I was like not always, but I had periods where I was big into psychedelics and stuff like that, and then so I think that I would understand going in how that could be used therapeutically, but
Well, I had an experience that's a really good example. It's kind of a trivial example, but Me and my son use like a half a pound of coffee in every cup, if not more.
Yeah.
A
Oh
half a
yeah.
pound of
I,
beans, right? And one night I had an experience, right? And that experience, I sat there, and I could see myself as this pathetic little boy saying, "Oh, us Bruisanacs, we drink strong coffee, and we're and that whole the whole
yeah.
because every time the subject of coffee had come up, we're the biggest coffee drinkers ever, and all that shit, and it's like and I thought about it, and I thought that is the stupidest shit I've ever heard, and I immediately cut it down to 1/4 of what I had been using. And I was fine with that. And but I had this realization of seeing myself in this we have all of these little dumb things running around in our brain, making us who we are. And when you start to look at them real carefully, they were formed when we were about 6 years old, and we're still
Oh
doing
sure.
this shit, right? Yeah. We're
Yeah,
still
yeah. I
puffing our
mean,
chest out, and yeah. I
there's a
mean,
lot of
like,
cultural influence in any kind of
yeah,
anything like that, as far as like all of your views of the world and those around you, and behavior and all that. You pick up on that stuff when you're real young, and it carries on, and it's hard to you know it it wasn't easy for me, to go against the cultural things that I was raised with here, and honestly, I mean, I haven't shook every bit of them. Uh, but nobody does. I mean, it's you've always got that. There's always that baggage there. I'm always gonna have the fact that 25 years of my life was spent being a young Earth creationist, and that
yeah,
a good 15 years of my life was spent completely fucking waxed out of my mind
yeah,
on dope. The those things aren't going to go away, but they the those kind of traumatic life changing experiences though are the things that break you from that cultural indoctrination that you've got,
yeah,
like you pick up little things and stuff, and like especially after like overdosing multiple times, and all the stuff with drugs, like and the going to prison thing really gave me a different view too, but
oh yeah,
the way that I view people around me, and the things that people say and do, and the way that I rate the importance of things is incredibly different from the way it used to be. Like if it's not affecting, like whether me and my family live or die, or really doing harm in some way to someone, I can just like pretty much not give a shit about anything. And it's at least for a period of time, But getting off drugs was all about like you learn to deal with those things again, how you feel about things, and the things you you spend so much time blocking everything out that whenever you come back to time to figure out how you feel about all that stuff, you're in a position to where you can change that then at that point,
yeah,
like, and so those things, while they're completely awful things, and some people would say like, well, you want to do a YouTube channel, don't sit and talk about going to prison, and don't tell people all that stuff, leave out all the bad stuff.
yeah,
But I would rather leverage those things to be able to say something to someone that might help, or talk to people in a way that they may gain
yeah,
something from, or I may gain something from, because
yeah,
honestly, it's almost a selfish thing. This community is so smart about so many things and so many different experiences from different cultures around the world and stuff, that it ends up being, I'm not teaching anybody anything, I'm learning everything from them.
yeah.
And it's so
Yeah,
you know
I don't have a problem with dredging up the dark side of my past or whatever,
yeah.
Like I was an industrial burglar for a couple of years,
Oh yeah.
and when I tell people that, they're like, "What?"
I
They're
can I
like,
can I can I can pick about any lock. Um,
yeah,
I
yeah,
carry a lock picking set with me, but I don't use it to do anything bad anymore. Like I just
yeah,
it's came in useful a few times. Like
yeah,
um, I
yep,
but also you learn to identify certain things because of that. Like yep.
Man, your dining room table is huge.
Yeah. uh, you learn to identify certain behaviors in people, right? Like
Yeah.
because you've seen that so much, like you can identify like somebody who's struggling with drugs and whatever. Usually, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a spidey sense, basically.
Yeah.
God, I was at Holiday and there was this dude waiting on the corner and he was shifting back and forth and I knew he was a meth head.
Yeah.
And he was waiting for his dealer because I had been on that same corner 20 years ago waiting for my dealer, right?
Yeah.
Sitting there at the Holiday station waiting for goddamn dealers that don't show up on time. And it was just like I could just see it in him and it was like, holy shit. Yeah, you develop a pretty good sense for it. What's that?
There's the feast, Umami.
What is that?
It's
Oh.
it's a cup of noodles.
Oh, the Meriton or whatever?
Yeah, it's a cup of ramen.
Meriton? Yeah, those are pretty damn good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, everybody
So
else
did-
here calls them ramen noodles, and they correct me when I say ramen.
I thought it was ramen.
it is ramen. It's a Kentucky thing, man. It's
Oh,
just-
okay. I
just
thought it was
rednecks.
ramen. I don't know. Yeah.
and it's just rednecks in this area.
Yeah.
You can steal most cars in under 30 seconds. Strange jobs. Hey, you know something I've been wanting to get Ember to play with is a Flipper Zero. I want to get one of those and mess with it. But just out of curiosity, I don't want to steal anything. I just
It's a lot.
it captures RF signals and other signals and lets you on the fly rewrite those and so like somebody could use a key fob to open their car, you could catch that signal and just repeat
Oh,
it.
yeah. Holy shit.
And
Yeah.
like there's a lot of other cool like networking things and stuff you could do with it. But
Yeah.
I didn't steal a lot of cars. I wasn't too much into that. If I stole a car, it was just going to the junkyard to scrap it so I could.
I had this friend, and he would show up in this brand new car when we were like 16, 17 years old and hop in. You know, we'd hop in. It's like, Rod, whose car you got? He's like,
Yeah.
never mind, never mind. And then he would drive it out into the woods. And like on this little lake road, we had this cabin road, and he would like turn off into the woods and floor it and drive as far as he could into the woods and then set it on fire. And about 10 years ago, I went out there and I walked into that woods, and there's all these old rusted cars in there that their owners never found. It's
That's
like,
funny.
because as soon as we'd find out it was stolen, it's like, okay, Rod, drop me right here. You know, we're done. We're through with this shit. He ended
Yeah.
up going to jail for that. We all got busted for burglary, and we all got off with probation or probation, but he had a car theft on his record, so he went down. So, but holy shit, yeah. No, I never robbed cars. We had a rule that we'd never rob from people. We always rob from
Oh no, for sure.
companies. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, steal from the man. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
we
way I
stole
do it.
U.S. Steel and all the mining companies. That was our target. There was one son of a bitch though. We did go rob his tools from his garage about every 6 months. We'd break in, drain his cars of gas, and take all his tools. But he was a real asshole, so we felt he deserved it.
So in the first half of my addiction, I was able to hold down a job, and I waited
Yeah.
tables a lot of places, and I was just every place that I waited tables at, I was like the all-star server, right? They would put me on a pedestal and let me work open to close every day if I wanted, and just because I was good at dealing with people, and I was able to, I could memorize so many things at once that if I didn't have to. Some places you have to write orders on special tickets and stuff, but most places I could just remember it. Like it wasn't a thing. And like I would go into work feeling like shit and wait on a couple tables and have my dope dealer come down and then get right. And the more dope that I did, the better day I had at work. Like I would just kill it. Like but I ended up like ripping off a few places that I worked by like
Yeah.
screwing with their computer systems and getting into the manager functions and deleting sales that I'd already collected money on and stuff. And the and then the thing after that, like after I quit holding down a job, it was shoplifting was the thing, and
Yeah.
we'd go shoplift $600-700 worth of stuff a day. I would get lows for like $800 like twice a week, every week.
Yeah, I got a friend that just got busted for that.
Yeah, but you know what we used to do?
It was from 4 years ago. He was sober for a year, and then all of a sudden they sent him a letter. Hey, we're charging you and whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What we used to do is we would go in and get a buggy and put as many 50-pound bags of Scott's turf builder grass seed on it that we could.
Yeah.
They were $50 a bag. I could usually get like 8 bags at a time. So I would just I would put 8 bags on a buggy, wheel that son of a bitch right back out the front door like I was supposed to be there.
Right.
And go out in the parking lot and either wait a few minutes and take it back in and return it, or have somebody else take it in and return it and get a $424 gift card.
Oh yeah.
And the pawn shop would give me 50% on the gift card. Or if I had a lot of older guys and stuff here around town that would buy them off of me for a higher price. If you're lucky, you get somebody that'll give you full price for it. But we would do that sometimes. Like there was times that we would return something and then send somebody in to go steal the same thing as soon as they put it back on the shelf, because I knew I'd already taken the tags and shit out of it so they could get it. And we would go around and we would set that up though. Like we would go in a place and find the stuff we wanted to take, get the tags off of it, but leave it in there, and then the next day send somebody in there to take all of it, and just walk out the door with it. You know, just like the time I got caught was I went in Walmart and I got a buggy and I put a big Rubbermaid container in it, and I went over to the meat department. I had the lid for the container. I went over to the meat department and I stole every steak and beef rib they had in there and put it in that Rubbermaid container and put the lid on and just walk out the door. I'd been doing that all the time. And what I would do, though, is I'd never do the same store twice in a week.
Right. But
some shit happened, and I did the same store twice, and they caught me at the door and got me. And that was the only time I got caught shoplifting. I did a hell of a lot more of it than that, though. But it was a thing, you know. And so it's like, and that's one of the things with the getting off drugs. It's not just the drugs; it's the lifestyle.
No, it's everything.
Yeah,
because God, eventually you dip to the lowest point you could possibly go.
For sure.
And I did that and stole from my son, and it was. It was, I was a computer consultant, so I was real fortunate in that. Being a computer consultant is kind of like being an armed robber. They pay you all this, they give you a lot of money. And for like 6 months, I was a computer consultant. And
I can confirm you were a computer consultant.
Can you?
I know that.
You know that?
Yeah. Whenever you emailed me and I didn't know the name.
Yeah. You looked me up.
I went and looked you up.
Okay. Anyway, I was making like, I was pulling in like $12,000 a month, and I was broke to the point where I was collecting change and exchanging it for vodka. I mean, because I had a hell of a cocaine habit. But eventually I dipped down to the point I'd pay my son in $100 bills for rent. About a couple grand a month. And he had like a stack of them up there, and I went and pulled 200s out of his stack and robbed from my son. And that was like, but normally, I mean, I would have done that more. I can't tell you how many times I hawked my Glock.
Oh yeah.
I goddamn near lost that thing. But it was like, you get to that point because it's hard to explain, but when you run out of drugs, when you're out and you need to get more, there's no clearer focus in a person in a predator's life than going out and getting that particular prey, right? And you will do anything, and your mind will like find every nook and cranny to search for a way to get that drug. And
Yeah.
it's like you're almost like a robot. You're being driven by this force that is so great that nothing can stop it.
Are
It's
you
it,
familiar with Gabor Mate,
no.
the
Gabor
French guy
Mate?
that talks about that? His um, AJ from the channel Ways to Human knows who he is if she's still here, but um, he talks about that exact thing about how your brain physically changes,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's obsessed with this. How are you going to get the drugs? And
yeah.
even like it gets to a point to where even when you have the drugs, you're trying to figure out how to get more drugs the whole time, and
Right,
it
right.
continues to. But anyway, he gives some really good talks about that. He's a I guess neurologist would be the right title. I'm
Is
not
it
sure.
Mate?
Yeah,
Mate?
yeah,
Okay, good. Okay, I'll check them out.
Gabor Mate. Some
Yeah,
really, really good stuff though about all that.
yeah. It's really interesting how it works. It works in such a way that it actually turns you into a zombie. You know, in the same way there's these what the hell? There's these some parasite that attacks worms where they'll crawl up on a branch and basically lean over so that a bird will eat them. It takes
Yeah,
over your brain.
yeah.
Drugs, like the actual mechanism that you become addicted with, commandeers a system in your brain that is the very system that gets you out of bed in the morning, gets you doing things. And like somebody, like, I think it was one of my kids were like, how can you do that when you love somebody, right? When you love your wife or your children, right? How can you do this to them? And I had to explain to him, well, the thing that makes me love my children and love my wife is the very thing that it commandeers. It
Oh,
takes over
sure.
the part of you that does all the good things, right? So now all of a sudden you're a zombie. You're crawling up on that little blade of grass and sticking your head out and doing crazy ass things.
Well, like
And,
my girlfriend and I went through recovery together, and we didn't think that we would stay together afterwards, even
yeah,
from early on, and neither did anyone else. And it's because being sober, we're totally different people than we are when we're on drugs, and we got together while we were on drugs, and lived it up and had a great time for years, doing drugs together, and we're we were
you're in recovery together yet?
yeah, we went
Still?
through it all together at the same time, and it's and we both struggled with different things along the way, but we one of the things, we had our kids though, like and that was
Yeah,
one of the things that made us
different.
made us figure it out, and
Yeah, yeah,
you know as deep as we were into it, we hold a lot of respect for each other for just making it out of it, where we live particularly, we have more dead friends than alive friends now, and
yeah. I know.
fentanyl just like destroyed Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah,
Like it was, things got really, really bad for a long time. They're still bad, but it's not like it was.
yeah,
But we got out right before that, and
yeah,
and so we're thankful for that. But also we have a little bit of guilt and stuff towards that too.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so with us, those are the things though that we felt the same about those things in the end, and that's what kept us together, I think. Uh,
Yep.
but you get to know each
Yeah.
other all again. It's pretty much like we've been together for 11 years, and it's almost like half of that was with a different person. Even
Yeah.
that, well,
Yeah.
a couple years of it was a different person because
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
clean for
My
a while.
my brother-in-law did that with his wife. He was married for 22 years, I think, before she passed away, and then he died like 2 years later. But they had a wonderful, uh, horrible beginning and a wonderful relationship that was just unbelievable. All in recovery, 90% of it. It was awesome, and you'll be there someday, like
Yeah, yeah,
90, 95% or whatever. You know,
yeah.
a lot of normies, I call them. We shouldn't call them that. They don't understand. They have a hard time understanding addiction about why you would do a thing. And I mean, it's really interesting. I was watching Friday the 13th, and for the first time, right, the very first movie. Maybe it was one or two, but anyway, Jason was coming, right, and
Yeah.
these two were sitting at a table having a glass of whiskey, and Jason came through the door, and they put their whiskey down and they ran, and I had this like, no, take your whiskey with you. You're gonna need it when Jason kills you. It's like, I mean, for me, the import of the theme was not Jason coming to kill them, right? Which was the point of the movie, right? It was that
Yeah.
they left a half full glass on the table. It just blew me away. It's like, no, you can't do that. That's good whiskey. It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Deviant, this is actually something that I talk about and something that I'm working on doing some bigger stuff about. But yeah,
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of times
interesting.
people who are on drugs end up in the court system, and the court system will
What's that?
send them to whatever place has a bed or an opening or whatever. And a lot of those places are religious-based programs. And what they do is they replace the drug use with God, and they get that same high feeling from going to church
Yep.
and the whole God thing. And I'm actually wanting to do a full-length documentary about the dangers of this and how it's actually killing
Yeah.
people. And
Yeah, and one of the key things there is when you give yourself over, when you give your life to Jesus, that born again moment, it's very, very similar to what you have to do in order to make that exceptional life change that an addict makes when they quit. And usually that happens when we're at the bottom, when we have nothing left. And we'll kind of like, all of a sudden we'll say, okay, I'm an idiot. Tell me what to do. I don't care what you tell me to do. I'm going to do it. I just want to sober up. There's that really powerful thing that a lot of what religion is about is that feeling that all human beings are capable of, and it's that sort of like getting out of your own skin feeling. All of a sudden, it's like all of a sudden you shed your skin, caterpillar, and you become a butterfly, and that born again experience. A lot of alcoholics will talk about that, and some have it during a religious conversion, and others don't. And I did not have a religious conversion when it happened to me, but it's the same kind of brain chemicals. But I'll look
oh
into
yeah,
this Loor guy, because it's really interesting that it is almost replacing one addiction with another. But I've seen countless people come into AA meetings, and they'll be there the first week, and then like they're just so happy to be sober, and then about 4 weeks in, they'll say, "Oh, we started to go to a prayer service on Wednesday, and then church on Sunday, and then pretty soon we started to go to prayer service on Thursday and Friday, and then you never see them again." That
so
was it. It's
so
like,
one of the things that I share often about my experience is that I would go to these groups all the time. I went through medicated assisted treatment, and I took Suboxone, and I would go through these groups, and people would, you know, uh, we didn't make people stand up or whatever. They would talk though, and they would say, like, oh, I quit doing drugs and my life is so much better and I'm so happy and things are great and this and that. And that wasn't my experience. To me,
yeah,
life was fucking horrible once I quit doing drugs. Every way I had to make money was gone. The lifestyle I lived was gone. My sex life sucked. Uh, you know, all those things started to, I struggled with all those things, and it went that way for a couple years, honestly. And I would hear people say that, and I would just, in fact, in one group, I said, "You're so full of shit. Like, look, quit trying to
yeah,
make everybody think that just because you got off drugs that everything's great. No, you have
yeah,
to deal with all the damage you've done, all the bridges you've
yeah,
burnt, and all the guilt you're going to deal with and the feelings you're going to deal with. It's not immediately a great life. Like,
no,
um
the first
um
4 years are pretty tough.
I'm
Yeah,
still digging myself out of the fucking hole I put myself
yeah,
in. Like,
yeah,
it's things are not great. It's life is not fair. It's not wonderful. It's none of those things. It's life is what it is. It has its ups and
Yeah.
downs and whatever, and you deal with it. But it was just, it was always that always bothered me whenever I would hear people. I would be like, like, I don't know what life you live, but that's not my experience
Yeah.
with it,
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what really it bothers me how they depict AA meetings on TV, because that is just so stupid. Where somebody gets up, it's like, oh, my dog died, but I'm sober. They're whining, and or they'll talk about how joyful. Yeah, it's just bullshit. It's a little
uh,
different. Have you heard of Teen Challenge?
no, but let me read this super chat and you can tell me. Ian Chin,
Hi,
799
Ian.
Australian. Some of my two favorite people having a yarn. I love to hear stories, you guys. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you. Thanks for the super
Yeah,
chat.
Ian and I go back. So yeah,
Yeah, Ian's super cool. We've talked a
he's a
bit.
cool guy. Anyway, Teen Challenge is a some weird organization that started up to sober up addicts, and they started with teenagers. And the first thing they do is tell you that the reason you're an alcoholic is because you sinned, and then they
Oh
go on
yeah,
through all
no,
this.
I know
Oh,
what you're
they're
talking
horrible.
about.
They're
Yeah.
horrible. Yeah,
Um,
and they're big. I mean, they're
yeah,
they're all over the place, almost like one of those gulag camps.
yeah,
Gotta hate that
yeah.
shit.
Well,
Yeah,
see, and that's one of the things is those organizations like that. First of all, they do that, which I think the most important part, and this is my opinion, but the most important part of recovery is accountability.
yeah,
And
yeah,
whenever you do that and you replace it with God, it takes that accountability off of you,
yeah,
and you it allows you that space then that if things screw up, oh, I just sinned, I wasn't being a good enough Christian, and also it doesn't allow you to take accountability for the good things you do either, for the getting off drugs
right.
and being clean, and
Yeah,
and it really fucks with your recovery to do that. But
yeah,
these places that preach that shit, what happens is that they all have very strict religious rules, right? You got to
right.
do this and that, and they don't put up with any shit because a lot of times it's people out of court and everything else. And so when you mess up once, they kick you out on the street. Well, the
Yeah,
problem with doing that to an addict that has put all of their accountability in God is then they have no accountability for the actions and
right.
things. It's this thing happened and they go use and they've been clean and they die. And the
Yeah,
statistics show that this is a huge thing.
yeah,
So that's why I actually, like I said, I've been for a long time. I've wanted to do a thing on that, but I don't want to just do a video talking about it. I want to do it right, and I don't have the equipment and stuff. And eventually, one day, it's a goal. But
yeah. I just want to mention that I'm in a very small secular AA meeting every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Time, and I also know of one that meets on I think Monday, Wednesday, and Friday that has 75 people on Zoom. They do a wonderful job of organizing their meeting, but they're called old agnostics or something like that. But there are a lot of secular meetings that have started up, and all of them need support. So if anybody out there is having a problem or is interested in a path to recovery that doesn't deal with God, uh,
yeah,
let me know. We only have 3 people in our meeting because all of our Christians quit on us. They got mad at us because they found out we were atheists.
uh-huh.
And we need help, man. We need somebody to join our meeting, and we need to, kind of take it in a different direction. So, and
Yeah,
I'll put my email out here in chat so that
yeah, yeah. Go for it.
people can email.
The um, I do want to say though, like if you're doing some kind of recovery or wherever you end up, whatever way you get clean that works is the right one for you. So I wouldn't pretend to tell people like if you went through a religious program and stayed clean and whatever, and that's how you stay clean, then by all means, whatever. But whatever works and gets you off drugs is fine with me.
Yeah,
I'm not down in any other type of way of doing it or anything. In fact, like for me, the Suboxone method of doing it, maybe not it has its ups and downs. There's
yeah,
it was the right way for me, but not you know, I didn't like NAAA for a number of reasons, but that's, you know, that everybody has a preference of how they do things, you know.
Narcotics Anonymous?
Yeah.
I didn't like any group I ever went to. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Um,
So I was in a halfway house for a bit, and they made us go to like every meeting that was available
NA
while we
meetings,
were
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
And
in some
so
pretty fluffy NA meetings.
yeah,
They just didn't do it for me, and I don't know.
it's, you know, I went and, you know, at the time I was like, I just got out of prison, and I was running 5 miles every morning and lifting weights for 2 hours every evening, and I was in really good shape. And so going to those meetings for me was just, I met girls there, and didn't
Yeah,
it had
there
no
you go.
benefit as far as the drugs. It was just
13 step. Yeah,
it was just a pussy adventure.
that is the 13th step. The
Yeah,
13th FTP.
yeah, it didn't help.
God, I've seen a lot of
And
that shit.
it wasn't even me trying to do that. Like, I just went to them because I had to go, you know. But
Yeah,
like immediately I get there, and that's kind of the culture that was involved with it. It
yeah,
was just like
yeah,
everybody was having sex, you know. So
yeah. That's weird.
I didn't want to mess up their group.
So go figure. A couple of addicts got together and started, or ex-addicts got together and started talking about one thing and ended up.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it was like this weird arrangement thing, because it was like we had all been through drugs and everything so much that, like, let's not play games about it. Like, we were all
Yeah,
adults about it. It was just like, hey,
yeah,
you busy later? You feel like doing this? You know, like, okay. You know, it was very strange, honestly. But
yeah,
you know, it again, like, all of those things, like, sure, they sound like crazy bad times and whatever, and like, I mean, not the pussy adventure, that sounds fun, but the all those things like that happen though, rather than set, and I do feel a lot of guilt and a lot of things towards myself over the things that I did, but I try to leverage those things to be useful in some way, right? Like,
yeah,
instead of sitting and just dwelling on my own misery over the harm and damage that I did along the way, which I tried my best to fix, you know, or at least
yeah,
apologize for.
yeah,
And all of those things though, like, it's because every day I can think of some new thing, you know, like, but
I keep doing that.
I
Yeah,
tried to make it better, and now I try to leverage those things to help other people, because I know what it looks like, and I know what you feel like afterwards, and I know what you go through, and I
yeah,
don't want other people to experience that. It's not a fun thing. Going to prison is I can tell you all kinds of funny stories and whatever about it, but it's not a thing you want to do.
yeah,
It's
yeah. Some of my crazy binges. I can tell them and make them sound like a funny story, but while I was going through it, worst goddamn days of my life. I mean, just
sure.
the darkest shit ever.
When
And
you wake up
and
every day and hate your fucking life, like,
I
it's
know, and even darker for other people,
yeah, sure,
and shit
sure.
like that.
You know,
For the people I cared about me, they went through it.
I said that I overdosed twice. The reason that I overdosed twice is because I didn't give a fuck. I didn't care.
Yeah, yeah,
I just,
yep,
you know, like,
yeah,
fuck it, put all that in the spoon, let's go.
yeah,
You know, like,
I didn't give a shit about that.
yeah, the it's and also, while we're talking about this difficult subject, there's, you know, if you're feeling in some way or whatever, there's lots of resources out there for people to talk to. The American Society for Addiction Medicine has hotlines and stuff. You can get a hold of
Yeah,
people. The suicide hotlines out there for people that need that. So don't that dark place, that rock bottom place is tough, and you know, makes you have a lot of crazy feelings and stuff. But there's you can get out of it, and that's the much better way to go. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, the
yeah,
hey, I tell you one thing though, the after getting off drugs, because like when you're strung out on heroin, you don't even give a shit about eating or nothing. You're like, and I've showed pictures of me on here before at 185 pounds. Like, um, you get in them detox places and some of those rehabs and stuff, and they feed you good.
Oh boy, they do.
And
Yeah.
you're not doing drugs, and it's so
Yeah,
good.
they have big piles of bacon in the refrigerator, and they pride themselves in fattening you up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
when I was
They tell you to eat all you want to eat. Yeah.
yeah, when I was 25, I went to treatment center. I was 129 pounds. I think I gained 6 while I was in there. I made a BLT every 10 minutes. It was
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
We
that's
we
pretty
would
cool.
go to dinner and there and see, like, I had been again, I'd been locked up and all that stuff. So for me, like, going to chow hall, like, we're going to eat, and they're like, yeah, you can have as much as you want. And I'm like, really? I can just get up and you'll give me more? And they're like,
Yeah,
yeah, eat, you can eat it till it's gone. And
yeah,
uh, it was when you've been like starving. I always say they didn't, like, whenever I got arrested, they didn't capture me, they rescued me. Um,
yeah,
I'd sit in jail and get clean for a little bit and put back on a little bit of weight and then
yeah,
get back out there and go at it hard again.
yeah,
And like you said, though, you wake up every day just hating the life that you live. You
yeah.
wake up and just, fuck, I got to do this again today. And
Yeah, I was praying for a DWI, and every goddamn time I would slip through the cracks and it wouldn't happen. And I was like, please, somebody, please stop me. You got to stop this shit. And it was horrible. I don't know. Did I lose you, or did you just go off camera? Oh, maybe I lost you.
1 second, Mike.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's all right. I just thought I was on my own here, and I don't want to be on my own. I suck on my own. Smart recovery, I don't know. I don't like smart recovery either. But yeah, it might work for some people. So, secular therapy, that's a new one. There are tons of secular AA meetings too, so you just got to hunt for them.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
I had to
What
do
the
something.
hell?
Do something
I,
for the
fi-
for the woman real quick. She
I
needed my
gotta figure.
assistance.
Oh, there. I lost my window.
But
Get the treatment you need. Secular therapy project. That might be a good one. That's cool. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. There's a lot of different things out there.
Well,
The
shit.
secular
There's all.
therapy project is pretty cool because it's they make sure that they find different um, counselors that aren't like, because I don't know if you've ever experienced this where you've been to a counselor and they tell you that you need to go find God or whatever. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Well, I've had. Yeah. When I started talking about my spiritual atheism, I've had all these counselors get all excited, and it's like, oh my God, you're right on the verge of Jesus, And I'm like,
and
no, no, I'm not.
so
Yeah, it's
the
okay.
secular that project, they let those counselors sign up for it, but also you can report counselors to them that are doing that because they're not supposed to do that,
Okay. Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
they they take care of it, or at least try to.
Yeah. The thing is, there are all of these secular AA meetings out there that are trying to start up because AA is going to change over the next 100 years into a completely secular program, and it's still going to be around.
I think
But
AA needs a remodeling, an overhaul.
yeah, well, it doesn't when you look at everything that it is, like the what is it, the whatever the organization is in New York that lists meetings.
Yeah,
They are all for agnostic meetings. I mean, they will, as long as you don't change the steps, they're fine. So there is a revolution happening inside of it, but the problem is all the secular meetings, nobody's goddamn going to them and
yeah,
not supporting them. I've started several secular meetings and not had anybody show up, and I know there are tons of people out there that need it and want it. And if you want to change that damn thing, that's how you change it. You show up.
yeah. Oh, for sure. And
Yeah,
I think that it's not that I think that AA, like, is completely wrong. I just think, like, I think the basics and the fundamentals are fine. I just think that there's a lot of work to how they express the 12 steps,
Oh yeah.
how
Yeah,
how they handle a lot of that stuff,
yeah, like
and
chapter to the agnostic is the one that pisses me off the most.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like, oh, yeah, you're an agnostic now, but soon you'll be a yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit. But Bill W was not exactly a
a good
dyed-in-the-wool
man.
Christian. No, not that either. But he wasn't a Christian.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't his deal. He was a little bit different. He wanted to find a chemical that treated it. Basically, that was his dream: is find a chemical that
All
got
right,
rid of it.
didn't he get on morphine for a while? Like, wasn't that a
No, he was on LSD. He did about 10 LSD trips out in
yeah,
California,
yeah,
and he they used to use belladonna and stuff like that. That was
yeah,
his
yeah.
first
See
experience.
now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there like a history where they used morphine to treat drunks for a while? Like that was
Not that I know of. Maybe the group before AA.
no, I mean like the hospitals did. Like you would go into
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
yeah,
They would consider you uncurable, so they just tried to make you comfortable until you know that you were going to
yeah,
die.
yeah,
So yeah, they had no kid. They consider alcoholism to be terminal.
yeah,
Terminal diagnosis. They would stuff drugs into you to make you comfortable while you died. Basically,
yeah.
that's all they cared about.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah,
dark.
there's I mean, I think that AA has a very valuable history and a lot of things to teach.
Yeah,
Um, it and honestly, again, I'm not in any way against it. It's just not the thing that worked for me. But my experience with it was in Eastern Kentucky, mind you, and I'm an atheist. You can imagine
oh yeah,
what
yeah.
Bible Belt AA is like, you know.
Minnesota's a lot different.
Shit, we had ours in churches usually.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we did too, but the churches weren't allowed to have anything to do with us. So Minnesota is a lot different than it is. I've gone down south and I've been shocked and appalled by some of the shit down there. And that's the problem with any of these treatment programs. If they grow up in a Christian culture, Christianity is going to get its ugly juice is going to seep into it, right?
Yeah,
And that's what you're seeing in a lot of these recovery groups is
yeah.
that shit's going to seep in.
Well,
And but
so what I seen happen here anyway is early on there was like Pathways would offer a detox program, and then from there you would always have the option if you went through detox, they would send you completely free of charge to an inpatient rehab somewhere,
yeah,
or
and yeah,
and
same here. Yeah,
or like a sober living house maybe, and
yeah,
the so what it looked like happened is the courts were sending people to all these places, and a lot of these religious um, factions, I'll call them, they realized that hey, we can get involved in this,
right.
and since it's helping people is what the goal of this is, we'll fit right in there and be that. And in Kentucky, a pastor is allowed to act as a counselor completely
Yeah,
legally. You can like they're allowed to be a counselor, give medical advice and everything. Um,
yeah,
the so they seen this happening, and they opened these centers to where they could take on these people from the courts because the state's having to fund all that, right?
yeah.
And so
Vulnerable people,
yeah,
vulnerable people.
yeah,
Yeah,
right. They took advantage of exploiting vulnerable people. Like
and
they so they started sending people to the beds in these places, and eventually what happened is these religious places would open clinics and everything else. So you get like medicated assisted treatment programs where you're supposed to have counseling every so often and everything, but you've got a pastor doing it, telling you
yeah,
that
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
God and everything, and it's a
that's
really
what
bad situation, man. It's not
That's
cool.
that's what Teen Challenge is about, basically. But but the goddamn thing that we can't miss as atheists is there is okay. If you look at that 12-step program, that transformation that happens,
Yeah.
there is a recovery from addiction built into that, and it's a entirely physical psychological phenomena that works in the brain, right?
Sure.
And it's very much related to this whole religious experience thing.
Oh
And if
yeah.
there's one message that I want to get across before I die, it's that this religious or spiritual experience is actually something that happens in your temporal parietal junction in your goddamn brain. And it's a physical thing that happens. And it can have an immense behavior modification element to it, right?
Yeah.
And so what they do is they take you in when you're at the bottom of the barrel, and they can run you through this process, and you get to the step where you give over, where you kind of give up, and somehow you have to give up before you can get help. And
Yeah.
it's this
Oh
it's a
yeah.
weird
Yeah.
psychological phenomena, and then all of a sudden you think, oh well, maybe everything I've been thinking before, maybe
Thanks,
some of those
PC, for all your help.
constructs.
Sorry, Mike.
Who's that? Oh,
PC
PC.
said she's leaving.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping. I
Oh,
know it was
okay.
a mess today.
Oh, was it a lot of
Yeah, we had a lot of
trolls?
trolls.
A lot of trolls
Or a
and
couple
shit.
trolls with a bunch of sock accounts.
But I mean, the most important thing to understand is that there is some science that needs to be done here about how these programs work and how recovery works when you're at your bottom. That we can get better at giving it to people in a medical manner, right? With fucking science-backed medical treatment for addiction that's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
And when we understand some of those processes, we're going to be a better place. I think in this country, I think 80% of our problems, or so-called problems that we have in the USA, are drug-related, drug and
Yeah.
alcohol related. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Going through jails and the court system, I think
Yeah.
it may even be higher than that because,
Yeah.
like, I know at one time they said 98% of all the cases coming through were somehow related to drugs,
Right.
and that's why they set up drug courts and stuff, which I think is
Yeah.
a completely awful program, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
The But yeah, I think it's you find that. And when you look at there's a lot of programs in different places all over the world that take different tactics to fight this and stuff, and a lot of different ones work in a different way. And one of the things though is you see that the impoverished communities and the minority communities and stuff usually have the higher overdose numbers and the larger numbers. Not that
Yeah.
drugs doesn't affect everybody. I think
Yeah.
most families everywhere it affects them in some way. But you see like the worst of it is among those groups and stuff, and it's very a very troubling thing there, But what happens is you have people that have, they're in hopeless situations and stuff, or they feel that way,
Yeah.
and drugs are sometimes the answer to that, and they get it's of course this slippery slope thing, but you have, because of whenever in some of these programs they found that when they take a drug addict, let them do their drugs or whatever, but give them a job and a place to live, that they end up wanting to get off the drugs and do better, and they end up getting
Yeah.
off the
Yeah.
drugs without any other intervention, because
Right.
sometimes when you just give people a chance to do better, they will. You
Yeah.
believe in them a little bit. If that person's not ready, they're gonna fuck you on it. But like
Yeah. Yeah.
when people are ready, which is a big thing that I've talked to families about, is they'll say, like, can you help me get my son into a detox? And I'm like, well, where's he? Why are you the one asking? And they're like, well, he doesn't know, and all this stuff. And I'm like, so he doesn't want to get off drugs?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna work. Like, you're just
Yeah.
gonna put him in detox, and he's gonna get out and kill himself doing drugs again. Like,
Yeah.
and a lot of times it's not just the person that's on the drugs, but the family as well that needs some counseling and
Yeah.
and needs to work things out. The people that enabled those to do that for so long,
I don't know how this would work, but like my sons, they let me live here the whole time I was using, right? You know, I think it was like probably 3 years that were really bad. And they were like, "What are we going to do? Throw you out in the cold?" And I've told them that, yeah, that's exactly what you should have done. But I don't know how it would work. But if families could, you know, and this applies to active shooters too. You know, crazy people who you
Yeah.
know the whole family knows they're going to pop, right? But they can't do anything because they're over 18, right? You can't do a damn thing to them. And I think we need to revise that situation a little bit so that there is a court basically where a family can say, hey, we're pulling the plug on you because you're crazy and you need help. And they're able
Yeah.
to do it even though you're an adult because we have like all the
Yeah, they
people
need at least a bill or something that makes a special exception for it.
something that gives you a little power. Well, like the red flag laws, right? Where you can, like we got one in Minnesota now where you can call up and say, hey, this guy is batshit crazy. He's loaded, you know, got armed to the teeth, and you need to look into it. And apparently they can come in, take your guns away, and you got to go to a court and present a case about how to get them back. You know, worst case, you spend 2-3 weeks without, you know, being armed. And I don't. There were one or two situations where that went badly, but for the most part, it's a really common sense law,
Yeah.
and it allows families to intervene in people that are
So
can't take care of themselves.
I do know of some cases where like that, you know, people were treated unfairly and that went pretty
Oh
bad.
yeah,
But you're
yeah,
right, and I think that whenever we look at the statistic that the number one cause of death of children is gun
yeah,
violence, like
yeah,
I think that it doesn't matter whatever we have to do to make that not be the statistic. We need to do
yeah,
like
yeah,
it doesn't matter if there's a few people that have a bad time with it or whatever. Like we have to stop that from being the case, no matter what.
yeah,
That's one of those. That's one of those things. Like there's no like whatever you need to do it. But quit just saying I'm sending my thoughts and prayers. You know, like that's not
yeah,
fucking helping nothing. Especially when
yeah,
you're the people that have the ability to make a change about it. You know, and
yep,
our government is so well funded by the NRA and some of these other programs that back all these gun things to not ever, you know, do any legislation to do with guns because they say, you know,
yeah.
any
Nothing.
yeah
Yeah, slippery slope, they say. You know, and it's like,
yeah
no, they're not going to come get our guns. They're not going to come get our guns. And God damn. But you know, like I'm always thinking in terms of what would it have taken to save my daughter's life, you know,
yeah
and what it would have. Now there were this guy. She had called the cops 12 times on him, and she had notes, and she had like a notebook about how crazy he was. He had driven two other women out of that condominium building prior. It had been going on for almost 10 years. His family wanted him helped. They knew he was crazy and that he was in serious trouble. And the cops had been called on him probably over 2 dozen times. And he called the cops on himself 1 hour before he killed my daughter. Now, what the fuck does it take to understand that a person like that needs to be helped and checked to see if he's got a firearm? And he had a registered firearm to his
yeah
name, which they could have checked on in 5 fucking minutes.
yeah
And they could have said,
they did it for
and
domestic violence. Why can't they do it for these other things? You know.
they sometimes they don't even do that. I
Well, no,
mean, they
that's
can,
true. It depends on where you're at.
yeah, you know, and and like, and this was a case of almost domestic violence because he was on all these people in that complex for a long time prior to that, and then he picked my daughter as being the number one evil because she lived the closest to him right across the hall. And it was I mean, anybody with common sense knew that this guy was going to pop. So did I, you know, and fuck Joe, I didn't do anything about it that would have helped, you know. I mean, I tried, you know, tried to talk to her and stuff, but I don't know what I could have done. I don't know what I could have done.
Yeah, no, I mean it's of course you're always going to think of it that way, but
Yeah.
you know,
I could have went over there and shot him.
yeah,
I didn't do that, you know.
there's always, you know, because you always have that hindsight, right? And so it's always like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, and you want to over assess the situation, and you know,
Yeah,
whatever
you
it is.
you never think murder is going to happen to you,
Right,
you know.
right. Well, you know,
Yeah.
or anyone you know, like,
Yeah.
and you can go over the situation over and over, and the fact of the matter is that it's not going to change,
Yeah.
and it's hard to accept that, you know, and and you know, I truly feel for you, Mike. I do.
Yeah.
That's an awful thing to
Well,
have to go through.
not me, her, and you know the
Well,
other people.
her
It's,
too.
feel for the other people that are still going through this. I think I heard some statistic about how many women get killed a year or a day, and I can't remember exactly how many it is, but it's more than you would think.
Yeah,
And it's just
and
like,
that's just like the kids things. That's stuff that shouldn't be okay.
yeah, shouldn't be
Like that
okay.
that
Yeah,
shouldn't, like we have the ability to make that not a thing. Now, I don't know, and I'm not saying that I know the way to fix that. Honestly, I think education solves most problems, but you know, some things are out of the realm of that, of course, you know, but it's just, those are things that just shouldn't be okay, and we, because of
yeah,
funding from a group, it's that is one thing that drives it. It's not the only thing. I mean, somebody who's determined to do something awful will do something awful, but
yeah,
the let's not make it easier. I mean, let's not make it just like, you know, going to the gas station for
yeah,
people. Hell, they've made it harder to buy cigarettes than it is to buy a gun now. Like, um,
yeah, yeah,
and that's crazy. Like that,
yeah,
this, these are all things that, again, you know, Republicans, Democrats alike, they've both had shots at this and done absolutely nothing. And it's a sad state of affairs.
yeah. Well, in
And
Minnesota, they did pass a red flag law a couple of years ago. So, but the problem is the goddamn cops are not going to enforce it. You know,
no,
so
no, yeah,
it's
that's
just
the other
like,
thing.
Jesus
It's,
Christ.
you can't. I don't know, man. It's like there's certain things that are like just hard stops, right? Where it's like this is a thing, that this isn't a negotiable thing. Like, should we do something or not? It's
Yeah,
something has to be done about this particular issue. Like, this is this is a thing. You know, I don't think anybody can even make an argument that it shouldn't really. You know,
right.
but like, and again, I'm not saying take guns or whatever. I don't know exactly what method. I just know that there's people with the ability to do something, and we do
Yeah,
know that there are certain measures with guns and stuff that have worked in the past, as far as controlling that aspect of it. But
yeah, yeah,
as
damn.
we move forward and we deal with people with mental illness and stuff, we have to adjust that and grow with it, and do what needs to be done, because it's just not acceptable.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, I'm a gun owner,
Yeah,
and I have a gun within 5 seconds reach from me right now,
I live
and
in Kentucky. I'm not against guns.
yeah, no, no, and you know, and I come from a hunting family, and I come from a, you know, a place where, God,
Yeah,
when we were kids, we used to take our 22 to school and put it in our locker, and then go hunting after school. And like, what the hell kind of world did we live in that it
yeah.
was okay to do that?
It was
But
perfectly fine to go to school with it mounted in the window of the truck. You know, like, just
yeah, yeah,
you
and it's
you
like,
park right out there in the parking lot with a 12 gauge, you know, hanging up in the window. It was no big deal. They didn't care.
because nobody ever thought of killing anybody with them, right? It just wasn't. I mean, like, it didn't happen.
I
It,
remember a guy bringing a crossbow to school to show it to people. You know,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
no big
Show and
deal.
tell.
But they
Yeah,
were completely freaked out. And I mean, there are some things like that that aren't. You know, it's not acceptable to do stuff like that, and that's good. You know,
yeah, that's
but
good that they stopped us from bringing guns to school,
yeah, that's probably not the best place to have it. I mean,
but
like,
the
you go. I'm sure you go to a Kentucky high school in this area, especially right now, and every person in there has a knife in their pocket. I mean, there's
yeah,
no doubt
yeah,
about that. Like, it's just,
yeah.
You having pocket knives in the culture that I grew up in is like a rite of passage. Like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
your dad gives you your first knife when you're a kid, and
Yeah. Now you get like hauled in. Hauled in. The cops get called, and you get counseling, and I don't know. I'm not sure.
yeah.
There's
But we live in a different world from that now, right? And social
right.
media especially has really changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
Uh, how people feel about each other and address each other and interact with each other, and you
Yeah, and
know,
that comes around to where we started, basically with
yeah,
social media. Because this is a social media problem that we're having
yeah,
here today.
yeah,
And
right, right,
yeah,
yeah. It's
it's how we
the
navigate it.
yeah and I think that it's easy to get caught up in stuff, right? Like it's just so easy to to not remain skeptical. And I guess that's
Yeah,
always really the point, right? Like to stop and assess the situation and don't make hasty decisions about stuff.
yeah.
It's
Hey, we're point oh. Let's see. We're 0.48 per 0.48 of 1% through the current administration. So we're almost a 0.5% through it already. It's
yeah,
like, isn't that great news?
we've made
We're
it
gonna.
7 days.
I was talking to my friend for like 20 minutes, just venting, and then she says, "Well, it's only been in like 3 weeks," and I said, "It's only been like 5 days." It's like,
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah. So
Anyway,
so when
we'll be okay.
okay, one of the and this relates to the whole theme of
Kerfuffle.
things today, but so especially where I'm at, from my experience, and I can only speak from my experience, but whenever I see the fundamentalist and fanatical Christians and the way they behave, and the Ken Ham with a boat down here indoctrinating kids with lies, and that whole culture that surrounds all of that stuff, like the reason that I talk about those things a lot and fight against those things is because it's all part of one interconnected thing. It's not, these aren't all separate things that stand on their own. It's influenced by our one of the huge problems now. Christian nationalism plays a lot into this. Like all of these things are connected together. It's not a
Yeah,
single issue thing, and we're better for having multiple perspectives where we can all take the things that we're familiar with in our experiences and the things we're knowledgeable about and fight about those things individually, but also work together to organize and do those things. That's how we're stronger and better at it.
yeah,
And it's easy to get caught up in social media drama and get caught up in your feelings and stuff because there's difficult things happen, and things happen that you think there's just no, it's never going to be right again, everything's over, and all that. But the fact of the matter is most likely the sun's going to come up tomorrow,
yeah.
and we're going to
It
we're going to
is.
do it all again. So
Yeah,
let's work to fix it instead of working against each other.
yeah. And keep
That's
an eye on that Christian nationalism because it's always been with us. There's always been this group of people, right, that have felt that way. And now they have come out of the woodwork, and now we're hearing them, right? Now we know they're there, and they're there. And those are the people that we need to work on and push back against because that's a big force. I mean,
mm,
if
it,
anything is
it,
going to screw this country, it's that.
yeah, it's been a festering thing that's went on,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and they're showing us who they are and what they want to do now, and
yeah.
we need to do our part to fight that in whatever way we can. I mean, but yeah, I think that's as good as any note to end the thing on, right?
Yep, yep.
Um, but
I'm good.
I appreciate you coming and talking to me, Mike. It was a great conversation. I think every time you and I have sat down and had a conversation, it's been a really good one.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, I
and
just wanted to say overall that everybody, in our community, our atheist community, this group that where we all know each other, Let's just chill out and be very generous to each other, and calm down, stay calm. We don't like I made a post today and I said if you damned atheists start fighting with each other, I'm gonna find Jesus. And if answers in atheism finds Jesus, you got a problem. I mean,
Right.
don't do what they do. So anyway, okay.
All
I'm
right.
good.
Well, thanks for coming, everybody, and listening to me rant and bitch about things.
And
And
listen
I
to
hope,
me rant and bitch. Yeah.
I hope I hope I was clear enough with the message I was trying to get across. But I didn't. I purposely didn't want to. I wasn't trying to make a scene about any particular person or particular thing that happened. So if you think this was about you, please stop. It was about behavior, not any particular person.
It's about unity. Unity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's I appreciate everybody for coming, and thanks to all my channel members and all that stuff, and thanks for the super chat earlier from Ian. I really appreciate that. There's a little outro thing that's going to play here, and I'll catch you guys later.
Bye.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.
Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with, now they looking nervously. And I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet
Cause I
next
don't
to
give
me.
a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.